Hi, I'm Dixon Jones, and this is a case study on improving some rankings and showing how you can use InLinks to improve rankings for a specific search term. So let's get started, and this is a dashboard of my site, actually, dixonjones.com. And we have a page here, the second one down, which has not yet been associated with anything and it's not yet been analyzed. It's got 4 links going out of it because it's found 4 things that I'm talking about on the page going to other pages that I have analyzed and associated. But this is SEO Traps in WordPress. Seems like quite a good one to think about optimizing. And if we go to the actual page, we can see that the page was last optimized, or was published actually way back in 2007. Now it's 2019. Nearly coming up for 2020. Today's date is the 29th of December 2019, so hopefully over the next few weeks we'll be able to show an increase in the rankings. Where are the rankings at the moment for this phrase? Well, for the phrase WP SEO Traps, I am on the first page, not doing so well, but I am on the first page, around about 8 or 9, something like that. If I look at the more generic phrase of SEO Traps, then I'm actually on page 4 here, and this is actually looking at something like 20 results per page and quite a long way down that page as well, so not doing so well for SEO Traps. Now in a real world, I'd also be looking at things like Google Trends and noting that SEO Traps is red, and in this chart here there's no real users using the phrase SEO traps. They're using the phrase SEO errors and SEO mistakes, but not traps or blunders or gaffes. So in a real world, I'd probably think about changing this to top WordPress SEO errors or SEO mistakes. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to stick with SEO traps, WordPress SEO traps, and maybe go a little bit more generic and work on SEO Traps. So I'm going to press Analyze here. Now, as soon as you press Analyze on here, it's going to ask me what phrase. It comes in with the title by default. SEO Traps in WordPress. Dixon Jones. I certainly don't want this. Dixon Jones Internet Marketeer. Do I want WordPress? I'll tell you what. I'm going to try and optimize for the phrase SEO Traps, and maybe have a few examples of WordPress in there just to keep it a little bit more generic. Now it's going to go and do an analysis of the phrase SEO Traps, and it's going to have a look at my page, and it's also going to have a look at the content that's already ranking for the phrase SEO Traps, and it's going to tabulate all of that into a knowledge graph specifically for the phrase SEO Traps in my market area. And it's going to come up with an idea of all the concepts that people are talking about, or we should be talking about, for the phrase SEO Traps. Okay, so at the moment, for the phrase SEO Traps, which is written here, the system thinks that we've got a SEO score of 81%, and we're missing certain ideas. We're not really talking about search engines, we're not talking about digital marketing or performance, and we can see what the green ones are, things that we are talking about, and we've got OK here, and then we've got, for example, we're overusing the word URL. Shouldn't be using that so much because all the others that are ranking in the top 10 are mentioning a maximum of 10 times, and I'm using it 19 times. Don't know why. And also I'm overusing the word WordPress, which is probably because I originally wrote this for WordPress. So I can see what I'm underusing, which is in blue, overusing, which has an orange one here, and green. I'm doing the right kind of thing. I can see what the competition is that's coming in. These are the sites that are coming in, some pretty well known ones here. And if I go to the editor here, then it's pulled in the text that it's analyzed from my site. So now I can edit on here. So what I need to do is to edit this content and rewrite it so that it better reflects the topic analysis here. And so that's what I'm going to do now. And we're going to have to stop the video here and rearrange some of the text. So I've cut and pasted my content into WordPress here, so I can just get a few ideas. Let's go back to my article whilst I'm doing this and have a look at my content structure. So this looks at some suggested keywords that I should be using. So things like she use performance, search engines, and maybe semantics, CRM, engine, some of these kind of things. So here's a little trick. What I've done now is I've cut and pasted the content as it stands into Word, and I've put the InLinks dashboard on the right hand side so I can see particularly my content structure, my proposed content structure, so I can get an idea of the sorts of things I want to start talking about. So I can now edit this content on the left hand side to try and bring in some of the ideas and some of the concepts in the right hand side. So let's go and do that now. Okay, so here's some content that I've written now in Word. I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to go back to my editor here. Okay, so I've now updated my content. You can see here that I've associated with the concept of WordPress because it's SEO Traps in WordPress, and the keyword is still SEO Traps. Because I've associated it, it's now got schema. We can have a check of the schema and make sure it's okay. So it thinks that this page is about SEO Traps in WordPress, it's about the internet, and it's linked to the Wikipedia article for the internet. I don't know if that's really true. Certainly about search engine optimization, certainly about internet. I think I'm going to take away, certainly about search engine optimization and about WordPress. I'm going to take away WordPress. I just click on that button there. It mentions, I'm sure it does mention all these things. Let's have a look. The organization of Google. Yes, it mentions search. That sounds fine. That's linking to Google search. That sounds fine. Digital marketing, it mentions digital marketing twice. Don't really think we need to have that into twice. But it's relating to different topics. So I think you have to decide, really. You don't have to have, it's not a big thing to have both, but I'm just going to say, right, I'm going to talk about digital marketing as opposed to just general marketing. I don't really think that I'm talking about directories. When I was talking about directories in the content, I was talking about the folders that you were using when you were installing WordPress, so it was not really about web directories. And then this last one, hosting, I do certainly talk about hosting, very important. So just a few things to check the schema to make it better. It's now at 89%. It's optimized still for SEO Traps, so let's go and find out what happens. We've now also built, the system has now, I've associated it, it's built 18 internal links into the page from other pages on the site. So let's see what happens to the ranking of the page over the next few days. Okay, so now it's a few days later. If I show you down in this bottom right hand corner, you can see it's the 3rd of January, so 5 or 6 days on. And let's see what's happened. So here's my page that I've updated here, that I've analysed, and this is the content that I've now put in for my WordPress Traps article. And we can also see here the links that have been generated into this page from other pages on my site. And also I've actually got 18 links coming in and 4 going out to other places as well. So I've got a few going out to other pages on my site. And I've also got schema markup that's been automated and put into the page as well. So quite a lot of stuff going on there, and it's definitely changed. But has it made any difference to the search engines? Well, let's go back and type in. Let's do first WP SEO Traps. And there we are, number 2, just above Yoast there. Unfortunately not beating number 1 yet, but not a disaster for sure. What about the more common, the wider phrase of SEO Traps? If you remember, I was somewhere around 90. I'm now at the top of page 2, well, third down on page 2. So a little bit more work there, and I can get probably up into the first page for SEO Traps as well. So I'm quite pleased with that. Interestingly, it did take a little bit of a while for Google to re-index my page. It was a very old page, so I actually in the end asked Google to re-index the page, and then the change happened pretty much immediately. So that's my content tool, a content analysis tool, case study for InLinks. I can't see why people wouldn't use it unless they're using something that they think is just as good or better. But there's very few tools that are building knowledge graphs this sophisticated, and so I think you should give it a try, and I hope you do. Thanks for your time.